In this video, we will use the ArcGIS API for Python to switch the base map in our web map. So open up the switch basemap.py script from the basemap folder. So far, we know that our map object has a basemap property that opens up a BasemapManager object. And from this BasemapManager object, we can access the basemap property. And we can use this property to get or set the basemap. When we took a look at the map object properties, we use the basemap property as a getter. Here we are going to use it as a setter. We first access ArcGIS Online. We then use the content manager get method and supply in our webmap item ID. I'm going to grab my webmap item ID from my notepad and paste in. The get method returns an item object. I'm going to assign our item object to a variable called webmapItem. We then use our webmap item to create a map object, not a webmap object. Webmap is prior to 2.4. As a version 2.4, you need to use the map class by importing the map class from the map module. We'll assign our map object to a variable called webmap. We're then going to update our basemap. I'm going to change this to grey vector rather than the dark grey vector. So here we call our map object, which is our webmap variable, and we access the BasemapManager. From the BasemapManager, we access the basemap property and set this to equal a string that states grey vector. Now, if I simply ran this script as is, it would not update. We need to apply an update to our web map by using the update method available with the map object. I'm going to create a variable called status. I'm going to set it to equal our map object, and then I'm going to call the update method. We can then print the status to screen. That should be web map. Before running, I'll just pop on over to ArcGIS Online. Here I am in our training folder, and we have the API Python webmap item that we created in the previous section. And I'm going to click on into this webmap. And we can see here that our base map is the dark grey vector. I'm going to open that up in our map viewer. And we can see that we are centered on Galway in Ireland, and we have our dark grey base map. Let's pop back over to PyScripter. And let's run our script. Our script is complete and we were returned true. We assigned the calling of the update method for our map object to a variable called status, and we printed status to screen and we were returned true. Now let's head to the documentation for the update method for our map object before we return to ArcGIS Online and check out the result. Here we have the update method for our map object. Update method updates the web map item in your GIS with the changes you made to the map object. We could also update some of the item properties, thumbnail and metadata. We did not use any parameters when we called our update method. All three are optional. We have an item properties optional dictionary, a thumbnail to point to a file on disk or online, and you can optionally update metadata. Scroll down, you can see that the update method returns a boolean indicating success, where we get true returned, or failure, where false is returned. We will return true, indicating that updating our web map and committing the change for the base map was successful. So let's head over to ArcGIS Online and check out the result. Here we can see we still have our dark grey vector web map, and if we refresh the page, we now have our light grey or our grey vector base map. On the left hand side, if I click into base map, we can see it is now grey vector. In this lesson, we saw how we could use the BasemapManager basemap property to switch the base map to another base map of choice. One of the most important notes to take from this lesson is that when we alter a web map using a map object method, we must update that web map. Therefore, we must call the update method for our map object.